Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I haven't done one of these videos in quite some time, but I wanted to wait until after Super Tuesday to actually do this. And I'm actually not surprised by any of the results from either Super Tuesday. I kind of figured this is how it would play out. I said in August of last year that Bernie supporters were not doing enough to grow their base, and Super Tuesday just proved that I was right. Two things I'm going to address in this video. I'm going to address with Bernie supporters the idea of something being stolen from them, and I'm going to address attacking voters that you need to win, and then being surprised that those voters do not vote for your candidate. With that being said, let's start with the idea of something being stolen from Bernie again. That all of these Bernie surrogates and supporters across all of social media love to peddle, which is a nonsense idea, because you actually have to win something in order for something to be stolen from you. The only time that would have made any logical sense is in the 2008 election. Obama won that election. He went into the Democratic National Convention with the plurality of states, the plurality of votes, and the plurality of delegates without the superdelegates. He won 33 to 23 when it came to states. So he won 33 states, Hillary won 23. He won 42,000, I believe, more than Hillary in the national popular vote, and he won 127 delegates more than Hillary going into the Democratic National Convention. Now, if you remember some of the drama that happened in 2008, 3 states were not initially included in the vote totals because they violated Democratic Party rules. I believe that Louisiana was the state that was eventually included, and Florida and Michigan were not. And the reason why that is true is because Florida and Michigan, every other Democratic candidate had pulled their names off the ballots, but Hillary Clinton did not. So that was the only choice that was allowed in that vote. And a lot of people in the Democratic primaries in that state only had Hillary Clinton as a choice. So it would have been unfair for Barack Obama to that extent, because he wasn't even allowed to be on the ballot, because as the Democratic Party had ordered them or told them, they needed to pull their names from the Democratic primary ballots in the states. And the only person that was receiving votes in those states was Hillary Clinton. So she had received 100% of the votes in 2 states, and that would have been unfair to Barack Obama. So those states were not included in the Democratic vote totals, and Obama had the plurality in every single aspect: the states, the popular vote, and the delegates. Like I said, he was leading Hillary by 127 delegates. There were a bunch of superdelegates that were saying that they were not going to vote for Barack Obama for the nominee, and they were going to give the nomination to Hillary Clinton because it was so close. The superdelegates could have swayed the race towards away from Barack Obama towards Hillary Clinton, but that did not happen. The party ultimately backed the candidate that came in with the plurality and gave the nomination to Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton, basically conceded because she didn't want to cause a lot of issues with the party and a divide that would have caused the party to lose in 2008. That wasn't the case in 2016. Bernie Sanders supporters wasn't even close going into the Democratic convention. Hillary demolished Bernie in the Democratic primary. She beat Bernie by 3.7 million votes. She beat Bernie by more votes than she beat Donald Trump by in the general election. She beat Bernie in the states 34 to 22. 34 to 22. That's how many states Hillary won over Bernie's 34. In the popular vote and the delegate count without one superdelegate, because you guys love to go to the superdelegates to make your ridiculous arguments. She had 359 delegates more than Bernie Sanders going into the Democratic National Convention without one superdelegate. 359. Now, I think it's ironic that going into the Democratic National Convention, Bernie was pleading with the superdelegates to give him a nomination. The very same superdelegates that he would attack for giving the nomination to Hillary Clinton, and ultimately work to reduce the power of the superdelegates going forward, which is now the situation. We don't have as many superdelegates this year and this time around. The superdelegates are extremely weakened this time around. They don't have the power to sway the election like they did before. And that's all thanks to Bernie. And this is the same situation that's happening now. Democratic voters are coming out and they're voting against him. You would have to actually win something for something to be stolen from you. When you guys say that, it's the equivalent of somebody saying to me when I used to run track in high school. When I ran track with you in high school, you beat me, and I feel you stole that from me again because you ran faster. That's what you guys are actually saying when you make these ridiculous claims. You have to actually win something for something to be stolen from you. Now, this concept that you guys feel that you can attack voters that you need to win and be shocked that they're not voting for your candidate. I told you guys last year you needed to do more to grow your base. Joe Biden was the favorite then, and he is the favorite now. And you needed to do more to grow your base. And you did not do that. And now you're shocked that these very same voters that you have attacked unmercifully are not voting for your candidate. You shouldn't be, because this is the bet that you made. I see you guys across all social media calling any Democratic candidate that isn't Bernie Sanders a establishment Democrat, and a Wall Street Democrat, a corporate Democrat, a centrist Democrat, etc. And then you're surprised that their voters that love them don't want to vote for your candidate. I see you guys making excuses for Bernie supporters not showing up in the Democratic primaries, from everything from voter suppression and the coronavirus. That's ridiculous, because it didn't keep Bernie supporters from showing up. Virginia had record turnout this time around. It didn't keep Joe Biden supporters from showing up and voting in record numbers for him. I should say it wasn't Bernie, because your voters didn't really show up, did they? So here's my thing, Bernie supporters. And if you saw my post yesterday, you see that I'm endorsing Joe Biden. All of the things that I just mentioned before are the reason why. I do feel that Joe Biden can do more to unite the country behind him than Bernie Sanders at this point. Because I don't think that Bernie Sanders supporters are willing to work with anyone other than people that agree with them 100%. If you're not in their cult, you're not going to be a part of their team. We already have that. We don't need that going forward. If you guys want the reforms and the changes that you claim you want, you have to do more. And you're not. If you want the revolution that you claim you want it so bad, you have to do more. And you're not. You're not doing anything to grow your base, nor are you doing anything to change the power dynamics in Washington. All you're doing is throwing temper tantrums on the internet about the corporate establishment and the Democrats and the Republicans and, the Wall Street politicians. But you're doing nothing as far as policy goes to change anything. What you guys are doing is throwing temper tantrums because when you don't get your way, you go the exact opposite. You go rogue, as you claim. You'll say, if Bernie is not the Democratic nominee, you're going to vote for Trump, which tells me you believe in nothing. Because if you actually believed in anything that Bernie stands for, you would never vote for the Republican or Trump in the presidential race. You vote for the Democratic platform that Bernie Sanders, helped create. But that's not what you're doing. You're voting for, the candidate that is not what Bernie would stand for. Bernie's probably going to most likely will vote for the Democratic candidate going forward. Last election, he endorsed Hillary Clinton, not Jill Stein, and not Donald Trump, because he helped create that platform that the Democratic Party will be bringing forward. So that tells me that your values are zero. You're just voting for a candidate, a figure, someone to worship. So to the entitled Bernie supporters, and I mean this with all niceness because I'm not cursing you guys out, and I'm not going to go back and forth with you on this, you need to wake up. Because if your revolution is anything like it is right now, you have no revolution. All you have is a bunch of entitled brats that are on the internet throwing temper tantrums because they're not getting their way. And if you really want the incremental change that you claim you want, you would make the strides that people like me, who had nothing but good intentions for Bernie Sanders, you would listen to people like me and do what I said in August of last year. Do more to grow your base. Or we're going to go back and forth with this all over again in the next election, and nothing will ever change. I agree with Bernie Sanders. There are things that need to be done as far as healthcare, education, and minimum wage. I agree that we need major changes and reforms to those things. But what I don't agree with is the idea that his supporters can just shit on people and expect for people to listen to you. If you want people to do that, you got to treat them with the respect that you're demanding yourselves. That's all I got for you guys today. Going forward, I am going to be all in for Joe Biden, and I'm going to be just promoting Joe Biden on my platform. But have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and Semper Fidelis.
Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off.